The only thing they really do is makeup, to blend the light areas with the dark areas.
That's what Michael Jackson had.
This is what Michael Jackson had, but he was doing something different.
Bleaching.
Don't say bleaching, because that's not really accurate, because that makes it sound like he was bleaching, like with bleach and a sponge. What was actually happening, something that's not really practiced too much in the United States, was he was actually having the melanocytes that are healthy destroyed. To make, because what was eventually going to happen was there was going to be more of his body that was light than it was dark. Or it was going to be so splotchy, which by the way I still think is a cool look, personally. But what he wanted to do is he wanted to make the darker areas match the lighter areas. And so he's destroying all the melanocytes. Well, if you take away all the pigment, doesn't that make you more susceptible to UV radiation?
Yeah.
So doesn't that mean that you should cover up, walk around with a hat and a scarf and an umbrella all the time? Exactly. So that's why he looked like that. That's why he was doing that. I don't know why he was doing some of the other things. I can't speak for Michael Jackson.
Hold the baby over balcony.
I'm sorry?
Like hold the baby over balcony. Like the Lion King. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember it. I didn't see it was that wrong then. I mean, he seemed to have a grip, both hands. It wasn't one hand. It wasn't like palming the baby. So I think he was okay. No, it wasn't okay. Yeah, he was a freak. But at a certain point, we all knew that he was a freak, and so it was time to, accept it and move on. He was the king of pop. He was bad. You know it. Could you imagine spending like 12 hours in a truck with me? Oh. Flat hair produces curly hair. Round hair makes straight hair. Makes perfect sense. Lifespan of hair is dependent on location. Eyelash lasting 3 to 4 months. Hair on the head actually up to about 7 years. 3 to 4 up to about 7 years. It's long. Okay. We've talked about temperature regulation. If we want to release some of that heat, the blood going up through the capillaries, going through the skin, those blood vessels are going to get nice and wide, right? We're going to have a whole lot of volume of blood up there to release the heat. If we don't want the cold to come inside, we don't want to lose too much heat, we have a vasoconstriction. We talked about sweat. You can potentially secrete 12 liters of sweat in a 24-hour period. That's a lot. And this is important. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. That's an important thing to remember. By the time you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. Don't forget the solution of pollution is dilution. Shivering. What is shivering? Very fast muscle relaxation and muscle contraction and relaxation. We talked about the hair standing up. We talked about the sweat. Oops, the wrong way. There we go. Diseases of the skin. Got a whole lot of stuff going on here. Hypothalamus, regulating body temperature. You do need to know all the different lesions. They give a good table. It's not a complete table. It's not a complete list. But this is a really good list. I would strongly recommend that you know these lesions and that you know the examples. A macule is an area of hyperpigmentation, and a freckle is a great, perfect textbook example. A macule. Very important one, seen in hives right here. Hives. A wheal. A wheal is an elevated lesion. It is elevated. Has erythema, has some redness around the base. Has a flat top. It's not peaked. It's not rounded. It's flat. Often pale, in fact, on top. And we see this in hives,